Next handful of picks here.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
We are going to get a little younger.
Right, we're going to get younger.
Number 39.
Number 39, Big Justin Fields, Ohio State, Chicago Bears starting quarterback. Hey, I know I was one of the negative guys on Justin Fields in the draft process. I'm sorry. There's still a lot that I really like about Justin Fields. Yes, is he a guy that could be on here and play and make a huge jump by the time we get to week 10? No doubt about it. He's got that type of talent. But we'll see. He scares me, just like he did in the draft process, for me to put him too much higher in the rankings. Special running ability, like we've talked about. We know the arm is top notch, and when you piece it all together, hey, he can do some stuff on a highlight reel where you just go, whoa, wow, holy crapola, Batman. I mean, he's got all the tools to be the superstar. Now it's just going to have to be putting it together. That's why he's 39. Hey, he's got the potential to be a top 20 guy halfway through the year. I mean, he really does. But he's got some other issues where I'd go, I don't know. I mean, he could fall down farther 39 if it got to the bad aspect that scares me. So that's where, Justin Fields is at 39. I need to see a little more info before I make a jump with him or anything like that. My issues. The throwing mechanics are really the biggest issues, the inconsistencies there. Too many slam dunk NFL completions that were left as incomplete in the college game, that bothered me. So he is a little bit of a boomer bust type prospect. I'm rooting for him, even though people think I'm a hater on him. I don't root against these guys.
Right.
But yes, there's got to be things that he's got to clean up and I got to see first before I can put him in front of some of these other guys.
I'll give you dealer's choice
Yeah.
here. It's your list. Do you want to get right to some of these pictures, some of the issues with his mechanics, or do you want to talk him with the Bears first and then get to some of the issues?
Let's bring the mechanics in first, because I think we can go there and then maybe talk about what the Bears can do to help it, and maybe even massage it as far as their play calling to let them have some time working on it. So, yeah, I mean, listen, the issues, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
the biggest thing, first off, is a lot of space to throw the football, as far as he needs a lot of space, and then a lot of moving parts to throw the football. So here's a play against Alabama, right? And there's a lot of these on film. And again, I'm rooting for Justin Fields here. But like here, if you're looking at this on YouTube, there's the great receiver. I believe this is Olave, number 5, at the kind of the top of the screen, coming across the formation right here, all right? And there's Justin Fields, perfect pocket, right? And I'm just going to tell you, this should be a slam dunk completion. We know that. It should be a slam dunk completion. It's a 4-yard throw and a shallow cross. I will also say, because we don't have video over these and video rights to these, you're just going to have to trust me that if it's an accurate completion, not just a completion, if it's an accurate completion where the guy doesn't have to slow down, he's going to score a touchdown. I mean, he's going to run right down the sideline and run for a touchdown. But let's go ahead with this, Pete, and so first there, and these aren't going to be, we got some better pictures coming forward here. But, hey, listen, you see there's the arm is up already through the elbow, right? I don't necessarily I can tell the body positioning is not perfect there. But go back to the last picture if you can, Kristen or Pete, whoever is controlling it. But you could see even just from here, if you go this one now to picture 2, the upper body didn't really change. The arm just went up, right? The arm went up. The shoulders never turned, nothing. So this is a little bit what we're going to get into here with the next few, frames. So now let's go and finish the product here. And you see here, I mean, this was a ball the guy could barely get his hands on, and we're talking about a 5-yard throw. And as you could see, it's man coverage. The guy's chasing him.
He's open.
And he's one of the fastest guys in college. I mean, Olave is going to be a top 20 pick next year. So he's a special receiver. So you have that. Yes. So there's an example. Let's go to the next one, Pete or Kristen. Now, again, here's another one. Alabama national championship game, going to throw a little double move, corner route to the back pylon, all right? Here's it. Not a bad position to be in right here. I got no issues with this. That looks pretty good, actually, from where that picture is. 2 hands on the ball, decent base underneath them. But now let's go to the next picture. Now, I don't love that. I don't love that. Now, I mean, again,
Those of you who can't see, he's ready to throw the ball, Chris, and his stride is...
Thank you. Very long.
2 yards?
I mean, yes, at least 2 yards. I would say 2 and change with the backside. What bothers me, I'm not a 2-yard stride. Okay, I can deal with that. But there's the other parts that also add to I don't like the 2-yard stride. The back foot, way outside the framework of the body. That's what I mean when you hear me say, like we've talked about, pushing off the mound, right? Quarterbacks don't get in that position,
right,
where the hips and the body, while the foot is still in the ground, are noticeably in front of that back leg underneath them. And then, of course, what's the other thing that jumps out to you?
The ball has been
course.
swung up by his head.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, now you see here, if you're watching again on YouTube, it's independent contractor with the arm. The arm is way far from the body. Elbow relay like this. So I'm going to stand up for a second if you don't mind here, and I'll stay low. But, I mean, to be in this position, so quarterback like Brady or a Rodgers, they're always going to keep this underneath them, right? Here's my power, boom, right? Maybe a little step, and then boom, it's up there. They don't get to this position to then throw the ball.
Because at that point, your weight is way out here.
Way out.
And the weight you want behind it to drive the ball is gone.
It's gone. You got nothing.
You don't have
and then you have to throw all arm.
Right.
And now he's got an arm that's floppy and has a lot of moving parts. So now his body is out of position. And now we're only relying on the arm to do it.
Right.
And again, that's why it's sometimes hit or miss with Justin Fields. Sometimes you can go, whoa, it's just one strike after another. This is amazing. But then you can get into little areas like this in this game and in some other games where let's just finish this one out here, where, you know, you could see, again, there was a place, but it wasn't even close to complete. Not even close.
Right.
And those are the things we're talking about that we got to fix with Justin Fields. It's going to be a tough fix. It is. Pete, we got one more, right? Here we go. Another one. You know, again, a little bit of like we talked about with the last one. Again, the back leg not totally underneath him. I don't love the position of the body, again, and the arm itself way too far away from the body and disconnected from the body, the upper body. I think that's the big thing. There's a disconnect.
Yeah.
You know, again, if you guys can come back to me again, if there's a Brady or a Rodgers, they take the ball like this. It goes away like this. They don't do this and then try to do this and then try to make it go like that way. It's not segmented like that. And again, going back to that picture there, it led to, this is hey, listen, the coverage is not bad. But again, for the 11th pick of the draft, it should be slammed on his numbers. Okay, he gets smashed at the 1 yard line. Maybe he gets in the end zone. But what happens is, not even a catchable ball and should have been intercepted. Or that might have been intercepted. Was that the Surtain intercept that, or he dropped it? He dropped it, right? Yeah, so again, I hate to harp on it because the guy can do some other things, running the ball and throwing some deep passes where you just go, you drool, and you go, that's amazing.
Right.
But there's just too much of that right now for me to bump him up too far because I just don't know yet.
I think it's a real legitimate, a number of legitimate things to bring up. And I always like to compare something, whether it's good or bad, to what is good in the NFL. And pick out a quarterback in the top 10. Let's talk about the top couple of guys. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. Their release is different, but two things they have in common: no wasted motion in, if we can make a golf comparison, in the backswing.
Exactly.
There's no wasted motion
exactly
like Justin Fields appears to have,
exactly.
number one. And they also don't have long strides.
No.
And it's all about balance and weight distribution. When you're talking about consistent accuracy, where the windows aren't very big, if you have a lot of play up top to rein in, if you have a lot of play on the bottom with your legs, your balance is tough, your weight distribution and power is really difficult too. So as I'm listening to you, I'm just trying to think of like, what are easy ways to think about why this matters? And it matters with balance when you have a lot of play up top and a lot of play on the bottom.
Exactly.
It's hard to put it together. Pick out any quarterback in the top 10 you're thinking of, and they don't have that combo. Doesn't mean he can't do it.
Exactly.
But when you compare to where he's trying to go, it's hard to think of somebody who has that combination of what he's doing with his arm motion and his lower body.
No, I think you said it right. That's the right way to put it. It's got to get fixed. There's no doubt about it. And it's like, hey, you put it right. The examples you used and everything like that, the moving parts, the balance, anything like, hey, listen, throwing of any object or anything similar, like we always talk about. You got too many moving parts hitting a forehand in tennis, and you're going crazy and all that, you're going to lose control of the ball.
Right. Think about Phil Mickelson yesterday.
Right.
That swing that we've all looked at for 20 years is like so effortless. One of the reasons is there's no wasted motion.
There's no wasted motion.
None at all.
Right.
with his arms or his lower body.
Technically perfect, and then, of course, can stay within himself, but then at 50 years old can hit the longest drive in the PGA Championship at 50 years old at 366 yards, and it looked effortless, but it's because the technique was perfect.
Yeah.
And that's where you go to Brady and Rodgers and Mahomes, where you just go, man, that looks so – it looked like a flick of the wrist. You know, it looks like a flick of the wrist because they're mechanically perfect to where they don't have to put a lot of effort in to throw a 30-yard out route or do things like that.
Right.
The one thing I'll say, again, you know, with those throws, with Justin Fields, everything like it, you know, yes, we need to do those to help with accuracy. Yes, the pockets are going to be much more condensed than you saw there at Ohio State. So you want him to clean it up from that aspect, to be able to throw in tight quarters with people around him. And the last thing I'll say, too, just as far as the negatives are concerned, listen, there's just too many, go on the internet or whatever, there's too many pictures, and if you're watching here, again, of just that arm away, and sometimes the bottom part of the ball is facing upwards. I don't know anybody in the history of football who's been successful and the arm and the ball get like this in their backswing. And that's where it's got to get cleaned up.
Is it something that can get fixed?
It's a really hard one. And then you're going to have the right people there to help you with it. And that's, again, part of it, too. I don't know if Chicago has those people. That's why he's at 39. I just got to see a little. And listen, I'm just going to say it one more time. I hope the guy balls out and on me and shows everybody. It's not personal. I'm talking football and throwing, and this is what I do. Sorry, had to leave it at that.
Week one. One thing we can do now that we couldn't do in March and April when talking about them, attach kind of what we picture to what their schedule is going to be. People think, hey, just start him right away. Week one at the Rams. Maybe the best defense in the league. You think he should be the guy right away?
The development will be key. Like I don't think. I mean, you watched enough Justin Fields the last few years. I never got the sense like the game was too big for him, or he was intimidated by anything, or
not at all.
Like, oh no, the crowd's too loud. I'm flustered. So from all those things, I go, Justin Fields is gonna be fine. I think he likes when the lights are on, and he likes competing, and he thinks he's the man. And that's the way he should be, right? So from that aspect, I have no doubts that he could handle the competitive aspect. It's going to be about, do they feel comfortable with him within the offense? And the way he is throwing the football consistently or not consistently, or those things.
Right.
To me, that's what it's going to be about. They certainly, if he can get to the point where they go, hey, he's got our base drop back pass game pretty down, and okay, maybe he's not quite as consistent as Andy throwing the ball, but it's not far off. And oh wait, now he brings this other element to our offense. And again, I'm not in love with Chicago's offense anyways. So maybe this is the kind of thing they needed to give them some spice and give them a little bit of an extra schematic curveball and things like that. He could bring that. And then, of course, their defense is legit. So I don't think it's crazy. I don't have an answer for you right now, as you know. But you get me into 2 or 3 preseason games and we revisit this and let me see it and maybe just hear some things in the NFL universe about how this guy's handling the meeting room and all that.
Right.
I'll give you a proclamation statement on whether they think he should start week one.
I would think unless there's some major red flags from now until the start of the season, whether it's in the off season or the preseason, you start him, even though it is the Rams and that's a tough one. You mentioned he's played well on a big stage. He's not afraid of it. And if you're Nagy or Pace, the head coach or GM, if you go 1-3 in September with Justin Fields as your quarterback, the heat is not as much as if you go 1-3 with Andy Dalton.
No doubt.
You may as well get that started right away, so you could start the upward trajectory, the ascent a little bit, kind of build toward that.
I'm with you
right away.
I'm with you. I mean, I agree. I do all the way. You know me. I'm always that guy about play the guy. Either way, it's the best thing for him to grow and do all those type of things. And I do think there'll be tremendous fan pressure there too.
Right.
For all the I mean, Florio's been saying it. It's Andy Dalton. We traded him to get the number 11 pick. We can't beat out Andy Dalton. That's all going to be part of this conversation that's going to put pressure on the Bears to get him in there.
Just kind of comparing last year's list to this one's, Chris. Your first quarterback last year was Tua, who was your third-ranked quarterback, I think. You had him at 40. This is your 6th-ranked quarterback as a rookie at 39.
Yeah, I know.
I can't help but think about how many of these guys are still to come.
Hey, part of what I do too is I don't want to be held to last year's. I know I'm aware, but I'm not going to go, well, Man, I had him here last year, and it just won't look that right if I bump him up that far.
Right.
I don't give a damn about any of that. I don't care. You know, I had Lamar Jackson at, 28 one year, and then the year he was going to win the MVP, I had him at 2 or 3. Like, yeah, that's how good it was. I don't know what else to say.
Right.
So I don't look at it that way. You know, there's new guys that come in the league. Guys play better, play worse, and it kind of moves around a little bit, when you're talking about NFL quarterbacks.
And talking last week, as we were kind of previewing this, you kind of said, and I'm paraphrasing, that you learned from last year.
Yeah.
That you liked some of those guys, Burrow and Herbert, better than you ranked them, but you kind of hedged it a little bit.
I did.
Because people are like, how could you rank somebody who's never played yet?
How could you put Mahomes at 30th? You've never seen him play.
Right.
And I want to be like, well, no, I should have had him at 10. Like, I was wrong. You're right. Why would I put him at 30? He should have been at 10. I knew he was one of the 10 best.
I like the aggressive stance here.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.